When we share something in our presentations, we tend to share our code. We do technical presentations. That's one of the main things we do. So sharing good quality code that is visual, that is clear, that people can see is super important. And sometimes when we are watching a presentation and we don't get to see the code, we just close it and move on. So all the work you put in your presentation just goes to the drain when the audience cannot see what you're presenting. So I want to give you some tips on how to improve that. So here is an example of a code that I have, and you can see that this theme that I have picked doesn't have much contrast. When I select, text tends to disappear, the font is very small. So the first thing you need to do is to increase the font. Make sure that the font is big enough so people can see it. So that's first. And then increase the contrast. The contrast of your code is crucial. So go to your settings, go to your theme and pick a dark theme or a light theme with a high contrast. You might not like it because it's too intense, but your audience will appreciate it. So I can pick the default dark. There is so many with high contrast, so just pick one that has a high contrast even when you select, because sometimes we tend to showcase things when selected, and if they are disappearing whenever we select, it's kind of annoying. So make sure that you have a high contrast theme. I like to use a lot light things for code. Maybe developers will like dark themes, but when showing things, it's good the light. Also, removing extra things from your screen when you're showing code is very important. For example, that mini map in the side, it's quite annoying. It doesn't add anything, so just don't show it. And also with other things that you might be showing that are not needed for that specific application. So remove everything that doesn't need to be in the screen. And that applies that when we are showing sometimes code, we might have our Explorer, our terminal, and our code open all in the same window. And that's very confusing for the audience to follow. Just open the terminal and show what is in the terminal, close the terminal and go to the next thing. If it's Explorer, show the Explorer, do whatever, open the file and then go to the close it and go to the code. It's very important to have one thing in the screen so the audience know what to look at. Sometimes people like to have 3 or 4 windows so they can show multiple things at the same time. That doesn't work unless you're a very good presenter and you have a very clear idea of what you're doing. For example, if you want to show logs, you might do things here and you might want to show the logs here. That's okay. But in most cases, you're showing one thing in here and then you might be showing a thing in here. So just switch windows and that's fine. And to finalize, I want to show you a secret that I do a lot in my presentations when I want to show code. I tend to do 300 and 400 level presentations and I do a lot of code sharing. So sometimes go into Visual Studio Code and showing the piece of code, if there is no active thing that I'm doing with the code, it adds a lot of complexity and adds a lot of things in the screen that are not necessary. So what I do is I usually copy my code into the slides and I animate it. So here is an example. These are how to do integration tests with Lambda. Doesn't matter. It's just a piece of JavaScript and it might look very much of code, and if you don't know what is going on, you will be like, what the hell? So what I do is I use some kind of blurring technique to make the code disappear, become less obvious, and I focus on different parts of the code, add some notes, and then in this way the presentation becomes more rich, more interesting, and at the end, if I need to share more information, I can add a link or something where people can go and find the code or can find more information on how to use the library and things like that.